In the previous tutorial we looked at using the if statement to confirm whether a user entered the password correctly. We can also use the if statement to compare numerical values. For instance, if I use an if statement to compare whether the number 5 is greater than the number 10, I can then create a message that would output 5 is greater than 10. Now remember, this needs to be inside of quotation marks because it's text that I want to output. Else, I want to output the message 5 is not greater than 10. So here I've got an if statement with the condition if 5 greater than 10, do this, otherwise, else, do this. So let's run the program and see what we get. We get the message 5 is not greater than 10. No big surprise there. Obviously, if we wanted to, we could substitute these values for variables. So I could create a variable called a and assign it the value 5. I could create a variable called b, assign it the value 10, and then I can just substitute these values here for the variables. The effect when we run the program should be the same. All I've done is substituted actual values here for variables. This can often make your program more flexible. You can also compare whether the values are equal to each other, just like we did with the password example. Remember, it has to be a double equal sign if you want to compare whether two values are the same. And then we just need to change the message here. Print A is the same as B, else we want to print A is not the same as B. Let's run the program, and as expected we get the message A is not the same as B because A is 5 and B is 10. Obviously if we do make them equal to each other and we run the program again, we should get the message that says A is the same as B. We can invert this logic here if we want to. As well as having an equal to, a comparison operator here to check if they're the same, we've also in Python got a not equal to operator, and that's the exclamation mark followed by an equal sign. The exclamation mark followed by an equal sign means not equal to. So now we're saying if A is not equal to B, then obviously we want to change this message here. A is not the same as B, and then this message here, A is the same as B. And in fact we're doing the same thing, we're just doing it in a different way. So let's hit the play button, and as expected here we get the message A is the same as B. Let's just confirm this by changing one of these values here and run it again, and we get the message A is not the same as B. You can also, if you want to, make use of any of the other common operators that you would use in maths to compare two values. So for instance, suppose we wanted to compare these two values to see if they were the same or equal to each other. So we could do this. If A is less than or equal to B, in fact I should have said if A was greater than or equal to B. Remember, you do need to keep your wits about you when you're using these symbols to make sure that you've got the logic the right way round. If A is greater than or equal to B, then we can output the message A is greater than or equal to B, and then for the else part of the statement we can certainly output the message A is less than B. So let's run it and see what we get the first time round. We get A is less than B, which is what we would expect because A is 5 and B is 10. Let's make A the same as B. Run the program. We get A is greater than or equal to B because of course we've changed the condition here to mean greater than or equal to. That condition is true, so it does this here. That concludes this tutorial.